Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land. It's good to see you again. I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist. I'm saying this in case any of you are new. I know that we are getting a tremendous new amount of people flooding into the channel. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your trust. Thank you for spending your time with us. Maybe you're eating lunch and I'm what's on TV right now for you. I would love that. There was a great video the other day about how Gen Z people get ready to eat, and they have like 3 different screens playing different long YouTube videos so that they can eat and go back and forth between them. If that's you, hey, I'm glad you're here. Very glad to be here with you. If you're older than that, you probably only have one screen. That's also cool. Very glad to be with you, and I hope whatever you're eating is tasty right now. Today, we're doing an open Q&A, specifically, though, around a certain topic. I'm not going to be taking every single question. This Q&A today is about vasopressin. You saw the episode and the video, really, that came out recently called The Secret Bonding Hormone that bonds him to you. It's vasopressin. Men have more receptors for it than women do, but women have receptors for it too. So here's what I'm going to be doing is today in chat, hi chat, I'm looking down at you guys right here on my laptop. I am going to be taking your questions about vasopressin bonding. If you have questions about how to win your avoidant partner back, not what I'm answering. But if you've got a question here today about vasopressin bonding, how to make it work, what it does, why do men prefer this, why don't women have as many receptors, what do women focus on instead? Why do avoidant women seem to bond as if they have more receptors, right? What is that? Why do avoidant women in particular bond intensely through vasopressin, whereas women maybe that are more anxiously attached don't bond as well with it? What is that? We're going to talk about that today. Drop me those questions. I am going to be prioritizing for the entire time we're here. The members on the channel with the green name and the star. Members, you always get chat priority, and I usually do members only chat at the end. Today, you get full chat priority all along. If I see that green member tag and that star pop up, I'm taking your question immediately as fast as I can. So let me know. Hit me with those as well. Let's take care of you guys. All right. What questions do you have in particular? I want to make sure that I'm covering those today. I do see Sarah K. You popped in with a question earlier as well. I've taken your How to Love an Avoidant Man and your marriage course. Thank you, Sarah. I'm glad that that's been helpful. Let me know. I'm trying to help my long distance partner understand what's happening biochemically during bonding and overwhelm. Can you outline how hormones like oxytocin, vasopressin, dopamine, serotonin, GABA, cortisol function differently in long term versus a typical avoidant? Table diagram would help visualize this. Well, I have videos here, the biochemistry of avoidant attachment style. You might want to go through that. Here today, what I'll talk about is, and I get this question so often, vasopressin in long distance relationships. A lot of people, when I start asking this question and I start talking about vasopressin, well, how do I do this in long distance relationships? I get that comment 5 or 6 times on every vasopressin video that I do. So here's what you need to know. Number one, yes, it is enormously hard to get vasopressin in a long distance relationship. Humans are not built for it. We aren't built for long distance relationships, especially open-ended ones. We are not built for it. It is incredibly hard. You are not really living life together, and you're now going through digital devices, which is going to have the risk instead of dopamine focus for you. Your partner pulls out their phone and there you are as a dopamine hit. And when they don't need one, they put their phone away. Even loving intimate partners can have this problem happen. So to make long distance relationships and vasopressin happen, you need to be hitting target goals together, which means you have to have target goals. Something has to matter to both of you. This is one reason that I say long distance relationships must have an expiration date as far as when you are not going to be long distance anymore. You must have an expiration date on the distance part and then getting physically together long term in the same place and then be working toward that as a couple. There is really no alternative to that. You are not living a life together that is in any way going to really help you build much of that vasopressin. You can play online games together, cooperative games, not competitive. There's a great game called Stop Talking and You Explode. That's a great game that you can do online if you ever want to really test your attachment style. There are various helpful games that you can play. Some couples get together playing MMOs and things like that, long distance. It's just that the realities of a long distance relationship don't afford much opportunity to solve problems together. And you can't physically high five, which actually reinforces a tremendous amount of vasopressin and bonding as well. So you're gonna have to build things on purpose that you're achieving together that actually matters to both of you. Okay. When are you getting together? How are you working toward that together as a team? Maybe what skills are you learning together, and are you playing cooperative games together? Those are some of the big features of vasopressin bonding. Yes, working through life challenges together emotionally and venting, kind of helpful, right? It can help, but that also risks turning the relationship into just an emotional dump where you just have this disembodied voice you can dump to, feel a little better, and then actually go back to your real life. So very, very difficult with long distance for vasopressin. I'm just going to put that on the table right now. There is not like one super easy fix for it. It is one of the most unnatural relationship approaches there is. Now, I'm not down on long distance relationships and saying leave them, they're worthless. But again, that expiration date on the distance part, absolutely mandatory. Okay. Uh, Glad you guys are here. Hello from PA. You are frozen here. Hope I'm not still frozen. My video's working great on my time. So there we go. Is it possible to get prescribed vasopressin? Guy that comments, that's actually what I hear a lot. And most medical practitioners coming in, nurses and things, they will say, well, vasopressin, we learned about that. It's a vasodilator, right? It's like, yes, it does a number of things. It's also like an antidiuretic, but those are features that do happen. This does a lot of things in your body. One thing that we found is vasopressin in particular is tied to monogamous satisfaction and mate guarding. So if we take prairie voles, that actually their brains are very similar to ours, and interestingly, if we can take them and look at the ones who are cheating and flood them with vasopressin, they become incredibly monogamous and protective of their monogamous union with one partner. The couples who are intensely monogamous already, if we block their vasopressin receptors, they start cheating and straying and finding other partners as fast as possible. So we know that vasopressin is a massive monogamous focus. Yes, you can get prescribed vasopressin, but now it's non-associated. We need associated vasopressin that releases in our system and tags to our partner and says, this felt great, I trust you. We know, for example, people can get vasopressin with a friend or colleague at work, not with their spouse at home, and that leads to an affair where we then hyper-focus on that person, and then you get work wife or work husband that turns into actual like real boyfriend, real girlfriend. So it's not just having vasopressin. It doesn't work quite like that, like oxytocin does. You could use an oxytocin spray and get some effective oxytocin. Vasopressin is different because you don't associate it with your partner in that way. So unfortunately, that's often the case. You need to be able to associate, if that makes sense. Other questions, guys? What questions do you have here today about vasopressin? I'm taking all vasopressin related questions tagged to the most recent video. If you didn't see my most recent video about the secret bonding hormone that bonds him to you and builds monogamy and monogamous fulfillment, make sure you go check out that latest video on the channel. Massively important that you understand about vasopressin. Hugely important. What other questions do you have? I can pull some of the most common ones that I get as well. Another one I get a lot is women writing in and saying, I guess I'm a dude. I bond with vasopressin too. Yes, women also have vasopressin receptors. Women also bond through vasopressin. They have fewer receptors for it. Your system, ladies, will prioritize oxytocin bonding and emotional connection and closeness more. But here's a very important piece. If you aren't getting oxytocin consistently in your life, if you are, for example, quiet, disorganized, or purely avoidant, your oxytocin receptors actually shift instead to receive vasopressin molecules instead. So you gain additional vasopressin receptors over what you would normally get because your oxytocin receptors are not in use. Now, if you begin getting oxytocin consistently and flooded, at first you'll have a little bit of it, and then your receptors will shift back over time, and you'll have more focus on oxytocin. So women do primarily focus on oxytocin bonding, but they are capable of vasopressin bonding. And especially if you've had a painful, more emotionally challenging life where safety is a huge feature, vasopressin is going to be very primary for you. It's going to be a big thing. So keep that in mind. It's not only men, but men have more receptors. And then if they also have low oxytocin, avoidant men, their receptors shift. So they are enormously shifted toward vasopressin. It is overwhelmingly important, massively important. So what other questions you guys have about vasopressin in particular? Ashley, could you outline the 4 levels of trust and how vasopressin applies? 4 levels of trust. Level 1, they are consistent and self-correcting with a clear set of principles or values or ethics, okay? You know what they're going to do in any given situation based on their core ethics. I teach my coaching clients, we have a whole hour about this. I can't go a whole hour about these levels, but I'll outline. Okay? You understand and can predict how they will act according to principles instead of in emotions or quick things, okay? Level 2, they are clear and consistent and self-correcting with respectable goals. So you have to know what their long-term goals are and what their long-term ethics are, and that they will consistently push toward those things when they make decisions. Now they could become predictable. You can understand what they're going to do. You can now work with them at levels 1 and 2 to start working on mutual goals together and understand that they will treat you kindly, respectably, ethically, favorably during that process. So you can begin vasopressin bonding with them because you know their ethics are intact, they're not going to leave you high and dry or steal from you, and they have similar goals, so you can work toward those goals as a team. Level 3, as you start working forward, you discuss your shared baggage, your mutual baggage. You discuss what your issues and challenges are, how you're working on them, how it could impact the relationship, and what you're going to do to make sure it doesn't. And you invite them to ask questions and to inform you if it ever crosses a line, and that you'll work on it. They do the same. So you are both mutually exchanging information and being clear and transparent with each other, while also holding each other accountable. More vasopressin. Okay, as you work through those challenges and grow, you can bond and build vasopressin. This leads to level 4, which is mutual fulfillment. This is being able to say, these are the 3 things I need in a relationship. Can you do this for me? What do you also need from me for fulfillment? This is vasopressin because you're mutually guarding the relationship, but it's more of a primary oxytocin focus. So building that oxytocin flow and that intimacy, that's crucial. Now, you have to build the first few levels of trust to reach that oxytocin sentimental bonding, which means you have to understand where they're coming from and they have to be predictable. That's absolutely crucial there. Okay. Guy that comments, I trust no one, not even myself. I screw myself over for short-term gain, long-term loss. And that's that levels 1 and 2 of trust. You don't even have levels 1 or 2 of trust for yourself. And so if you also don't believe other people are trustworthy, this is where a lot of avoidantly attached people, their vasopressin receptors are screaming for any kind of connection whatsoever, but they will never get it because they shut down all vasopressin opportunities. I'm not going to let anyone work on problems with me because they'll screw it up and make it worse. So their oxytocin receptors shift to vasopressin receptors. Then their vasopressin receptors sit there and go, well, I wish I had something I could be doing for the next 50, 60 years. This is the issue with avoidantly attached people. They are primed. They are primed for vasopressin. I grew up in California. Don't hold it against me. And in California, the ecosystem is actually based on wildfires. The trees need wildfires to then drop their pine cones, pop open, and then have useful ash on the ground for nutrients to then immerse in the soil and then grow again. So the tree life and plant life, it all relies on wildfire. So it builds up and builds up. Now, unfortunately, the government in California, for various reasons we won't go into, has not been adequately taking care of those brush fires. They actually, for a long time, prevented them. So there's a massive explosive accumulation of debris waiting for flame that's been there for decades of gathering, okay? They are primed and ready for a wildfire. That's why when you see a wildfire happen, it's raging out of control and burns down whole cities, multiple cities. An avoidant man's brain, his vasopressin receptors, or an avoidant woman's brain with vasopressin is the same. It has decades of accumulated debris waiting for one little spark. And when it gets that, boom, everything explodes into bonding. This is why we need vasopressin bonding, especially with avoidant individuals, male or female, because their brain is primed for it. And their brain says, you made me safer. You helped me during stress. Everyone on the planet makes it worse. You are the only one that helped me. When there was a fight coming, you ran toward me to stand next to me and then helped me overcome those enemies. When there was a risk, you helped me manage it. We succeeded because we were together, not you were nearby and I succeeded. We did this together. And they become fiercely loyal, fiercely connected. Now, The problem is that a lot of avoidant people, their brain says, well, we did this, you were standing nearby, but I did it. A lot of women will tell you stories about how they were like totally with this dude for 15 years, built his business, helped him with his health, fixed his life. And then at the end of it, was like, hey, thanks, bye, and left. He said, I did all of this by myself, and you happened to be there. Huge difference. Okay. It's not just what you do, it's how it's perceived. Massively important. Massively important. All right. What other questions do you guys have? Open Q&A, priority to members, of course, as is right, because you support me, I support you back. But what other questions about vasopressin do you have here today? I want to make sure we hit those questions and take care of you. I know you've got them. I know you do. I've been teaching about vasopressin for years now. There are so many questions that people have. Brianna, I'm trying to accurately differentiate between lack of trust and assumption everyone will mess things up versus feeling superiority. They are different. An ethically avoidant person usually doesn't have an actual feeling of superiority. Now, their brain, interestingly, does have a belief that they are going to hustle harder than anyone else, and not usually because they think they're better than anyone else, but it looks like it. The more contempt they have for others, the more they start to say, I'm better. And that leads off the chart into the chart of avoidant to manipulative avoidant attachment style off into narcissistic personality disorder. And that can happen. They do believe I have more discipline than other people, is usually what they'll say on the ethical side. So I know it looks like that. And when you ask them point blank, do you think you're better than everybody else? They'll say, well, no, but I think I have more discipline than other people do. I'm just able to manage it better, is usually what they'll say on this side. So it looks like smug superiority. For them, it's not. For some, it is. Keep that in mind. Lack of trust and belief other people are going to screw it up. Usually for the ethical group is other people don't have the discipline, or they don't care, or they don't understand, or they're like children, they're dysregulated. I can't trust them. They will be selfish. That's just how humans are. I'm that way too, but I try harder because I'm right here and I'm trying to make it work. I have more discipline. That's usually what their brain will say. It is a paradox. They are holding multiple ideas in their head. I'm not better than everyone else, but I am better than everyone else. That is in their head. So yes, Brianna, 100%. Thank you. I've tended to interpret this as superiority in my avoidant husband. I think what you just said exactly how to respond. Yeah, it's not generally that they distrust you. An avoidant man, for example, if you go on my channel, I Wish You Knew, there's an episode where I talked to my good avoidant friend, very dear friend, Andre, and we had a conversation about trust, and he said, Adam, I'm realizing that I have trusted you less, not because you're not worthy of trust, but because I get in a relationship, I hope that that person's going to be good and trustworthy. And then everything they do that removes from that removes my trust for them, not because they're bad people, but because I just see their limitations and their difficulties, and that erodes my trust. And that's ethically avoidant people, maybe like your husband. It's not that they distrust you. It's not personal. It's that they don't trust the human species, and you happen to be a human. And as you live with him, you'll prove that you're a human. You'll prove that you have sad days. You'll prove that sometimes you cry at the weirdest moments. You'll prove that you're not always ready to go the moment he is. You'll prove a number of things that you're human. So his trust within you will downgrade from logistics. Growing trust in how does she act according to her ethics, right? The 4 levels of trust. Does she live according to her principles and her ethics? Would she self-correct back after making a small mistake? Does she make giant mistakes and not care? Does she make huge ethical breaches, right? That's a problem. Are her goals the same as mine? And does she actually work toward those goals, or does she not care? And if I wasn't policing her like a child, would she just wander off into the wilderness and start chewing on a tree limb somewhere? Like that's the avoidant mindset, is everyone around me is like a child and I have to parent them. That's the ethical avoidant. Does it sound narcissistic? Maybe a little, but again, on the ethical side, they're not. It's that's all they've experienced growing up in, is I actually am more disciplined than everybody else. And I don't know why from their perspective. Okay. That's the ethical avoidant doing that. That's why it's hard to vasopressin bond with them until they actually see you as someone they can work with instead of someone they have to manage. Usually avoidant people are managing you to some extent. And then they say, well, I did this while managing you. You assisted a little bit. Good for you. Pat you on the head. But it was me that actually drove this to completion. That's why they struggle with vasopressin bonding. All right, guys. Again, I'm taking all questions related to vasopressin bonding specifically. from the most recent video. So I'm going to go through your questions and make sure we get those. Okay. Only vasopressin questions. I'm seeing a lot of them pop up. That's okay. Some of you are just joining. Vasopressin bonding questions in particular. Any of those in particular, you guys, pop in. I see questions going up, but questions about vasopressin. That's the Q&A that we're doing here today. I see that so much. He micromanages at times. Brianna, I have an amazing video here coming soon. It's the tests that avoidant men do. That's the 7 core tests that they do when they're beginning to trust you. It is so important. It ends very quickly with one that you must pass, but it's where he begins to see you as a trusted co-equal, a co-executive in life. Avoidant men usually think in very business terms, and viewing you as a co-executive to work with him is one of the highest compliments he can give. That's why in my marriage course, I talk about the CEO and the COO role of marriage, right? The man is the CEO, the woman is the COO, working together as co-executives, not divided based on value, but divided based on core tasks that they're each specialized for and can do together. So co-executives. One big thing for partners of avoidant people is actually to go to them and say, I want to be a co-executive with you. I want to be someone you can actually rely on. What things are holding us back from getting there? Maybe things I'm doing or not doing, but also maybe things from your perspective that maybe I can help you overcome. I want us to get to a place where we are working together as a team, as executives. How can we get there? What are our obstacles? How can we tackle them? Very proactive, focused, solution-focused, working through it. You build it as a team. You might say, well, I see you doing this, and that's really disruptive. I see you not doing this, and that concerns me. I'm really thinking I need to let some of these things go and give you some control as well. So I'm going to choose to do that. Boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3. Let's work on it. It's not you proving yourself. It's you demonstrating the trustworthiness that you already have, but in a way that your partner can receive. This is not about making you jump through hoops or accommodate him either. This is about building a partnership for the rest of your lives that you can both thrive in. He needs that. And in turn, you can turn around and say, this is also what I would need from you for me to be calm and connected and really deeply intimate with you. Here's a couple of things I would need, right? Things you are doing, things you're not doing, and things that I should be doing. And you step into that, right? Vasopressin bonding, oxytocin bonding, emotional intimacy, practical intimacy, if you want to think of it that way. There we go. Any more vasopressin questions here? Vasopressin questions in particular is what I'm taking here. Here we go. I like this one. Gloria Perez really would like to know what types of hobbies one can do with their partner to increase vasopressin bonding. I actually did some research on this lately and came up with 20 different bonding opportunities, hobbies, activities, etc. you can do as a couple. There are so many, but basically you have to be achieving something together. This could be camping. This could be going camping and you each have assigned tasks and you do them and you live it out. And at the end, you high five. Guys, it's so crucial that you high five at the end and say, we did this. My wife and I, when we do something, we actually high five and yell vasopressin, because that physical high five, the research is fascinating. When you tag it like we achieved this together, that's what that high five actually builds in your brain. It's an incredible release of multiple chemicals, one being vasopressin. So camping, learning a new skill like dancing, baking, cooking, archery, gun cleaning and gun safety, shooting, things like that. But so many other skills, tackling debt together and checking it off, building a financial program. I have inside the marriage, how to build a secure marriage course, my new course that just launched. In there, how to handle your financials in a way that builds your vasopressin together as a team every single month as you improve your finances together as a couple. Like all of this can work together for vasopressin. It is so important that you be doing this. You need to be building that connection together. You are either living in a way that proves that you are trustworthy partners or you are not. And if you're not, you're failing at this game. You're failing at this game. Go watch that video, the most recent one I posted, right? The most important bonding hormone, the secret bonding hormone for pulling him to you. It's so incredibly important that you watch that and that you understand it. Because if you're not doing it, your relationship is dying. Okay. I'm taking make sure I'm taking vasopressin focused questions here today. So drop those in here. Heather, my avoidant is having a medical procedure. He's in a hyper-independent mode. Realistically, he will need help. How can I show up for him? This is a great vasopressin-focused question because this is a time when you could help. Now, here's what's going to be difficult. If he's going to hyper independent mode, most men, when they have a medical issue, they act like a dog who's sick and they crawl under the porch to hide and die. So they pull in and they don't want anyone to see their weakness. An amazing thing that you can do for a man who's going through a medical challenge is to step forward and say, hey, I respect you tremendously. I know you are a very strong man. I know that this medical thing is going on. It is what it is. I want to help you through it in the best way I can so that you can stay that strong man and get back to being even stronger, right? What can I do to facilitate that support for you during this time? How can I step in as your partner, as your assistant, as your helper right now and help you come through this and come out stronger on the other side? Not, how do I take care of you? Do you need me to wipe your butt? Do you need to refeed you with a spoon? Oh, poor baby. Like, no, 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 no. That's what he's thinking. Step in. I respect you. You're a strong man. You will come out even stronger. What can I do to assist you to make sure that happens? How can I assist you and help you during this time? Right? Step into that role. Be prepared to give him a list of a couple of things he might not know. You can actually just sit and kind of, well, here are 5 things I'm willing to do to assist you. Is that helpful, or does that give you any other ideas? Right? Come in like that. That's the best way to approach it. Rika, my ex has both avoidant and narcissistic traits, but neither fully both. I've healed and I'm more secure. Is vasopressin the reason he always comes back? Is there any hope of someone with avoidant and narc traits? So remember the spectrum of avoidant attachment style. Ethical avoidant, where they are focused on ethics and those things. They are more distant and sometimes a little bit self-focused because they don't think anyone will take care of them. But down that spectrum, they get more and more avoidance, more and more manipulation, more and more contempt for other people, and more damaging behaviors. The manipulative avoidant is off over here, and they accrue more and more what we would consider narcissistic traits. Now, off the end of that spectrum is narcissistic personality disorder, what we would call a narcissist over here. That's off the chart, but they'll accrue more of those traits as they go down the spectrum. Now, what you might be talking about is somebody with more manipulative avoidant focus who has more narcissistic traits, but they keep circling back to you. Now, they can circle back because they vasopressin bonded to you, but quite often they circle back because they leave, go to have sex with other people and want you to decrease your expectations. Then they circle back later to see if you have regrown your love pollen that they can just harvest from you again. So they'll keep circling 2, 3, 4 different people and rotating between multiples in their life, waiting for that, okay, are you ready yet? Nope, I'm going to go to the next one yet. You're ready? Okay, hey, let's do this for another couple of months. And they come back for more harvesting of pollen. You're like a flower that they just can't stop eating from, but they're not really here to commit to you. You're still an object in their life for that, and they'll rotate through you. That's often the case, very often the case. Level 4 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is what I'm assuming your name is. I'm an avoidant woman. Could I have confused trauma bonding for vasopressin with my anxious ex? Possible. Trauma bonding means so many things to different people. So let's work with the definition here. Trauma bonding typically means what it actually means is the other person puts you through pain and suffering and forces you to desire them and desire their approval. Then when you lunge into it and fix things with them, they reward you lavishly. So they use emotional trauma to bond you to them. It's a highly manipulative process, maybe conscious or unconscious. That's typically what we consider a trauma bond. Now, going through traumatic experiences together as a couple that you haven't engineered and it's not abusive and like that, going through a painful experience together, yes, will vasopressin bond the two of you together. Many couples get together, they're a little bit more casual, they have a miscarriage, and they get through it and they actually lock in and help each other because they're empathetic, kind people. And then going through that experience, vasopressin bonds them together. And they say, wow, what the heck is this? Why am I so bonded to you? That's not a trauma bond. That's what we call suspension bridge effect, where the vasopressin is released, but you haven't actually built an intimate, trusting relationship yet. It's the suspension itself and the vasopressin loading in. So keep in mind, that's what that is. It's the action movie where the hero and heroine both fall in love together because they've killed so many bad guys and survived so many explosions. That's not a true intimate bond, but it is a vasopressin bond. So it can lead to an intimate union, if that makes sense. So yes, you can go through trauma and bond. That's vasopressin, quite often. What part of marriage course do I need to go to fix this dynamic? How to grow vasopressin when he's so checked out? Jackie, good question. Inside the marriage course, setting up the marriage properly, following the course and program together will build vasopressin as long as they're willing to just do some of it with you. Doing the exercises together will release vasopressin. Repairing any of the 6 pillars of marriage also is releasing vasopressin. Improving your communication skills together as a couple is releasing vasopressin. Going through like the financial plan and planning and stuff inside that course repairs and releases vasopressin. Repairing after an infidelity or a breach releases vasopressin. Repairing your and rekindling your sex lives together as a couple releases vasopressin and oxytocin. The whole course, if you go through it together in any way or utilize pieces of it where you both know what you're doing and you both agree to it and then do it and then see results, vasopressin release. The whole course is designed as a vasopressin release over and over and over and over. That's why during that course, I'm like, hey, you're bonding together lately, aren't you, by doing this course? And the couples are like, yeah, this is intense. It feels weird, but great. As you go through the course, you are vasopressin bonding as you're checking off the objectives. Really important that you go through that and look at that. Okay. Vasopressin questions. I'm looking at vasopressin questions. Any vasopressin. Here we go. Jackie, another one. How does the more feminine man act with outbursts when he wants to exert his power? How to use the vasopressin to calm the brain, anchor the manipulative acts? No. So you don't use vasopressin to stop a man from being manipulative. That's not really how this works. It's not a button you can push to make him finally grow up. Vasopressin does not make a man grow up. And there's nothing a woman can do to make a man grow up. Keep in mind that a woman needs to, number one, call a man to a quest. That's the role of the feminine. Hey, there's a problem. We need to tackle this. I believe that you're the man that can do this. I really need you to do it. Invite. If you take care of this problem, here is a wonderful life that I would love to share with you. Can you rise to the occasion and become this kind of man so that we can share this together? This is the role of an actual securely attached woman. Okay? You call him to his quest, you invite, you make the direct ask. Insecurely attached women do half of all of this. Like, well, I'm great to have you here. While you're here, just remember there's a dragon over there. It's okay, just don't go over there. And you're hoping he'll like pick up hints. And then you're like, if I have lots and lots and lots of sex with him, maybe that'll make him grow up. No, he's like, well, I'm getting rewarded for everything I'm doing. I should never change. And it never actually materializes. And women get more and more nervous, sad, resentful, lonely, burned out. And they're like, what do I do? What do I do to make him love me? No, the problem is that he has never properly grown up. And that's the challenge. He needs to rise to the occasion. Set the course. Tell him what needs to happen. Invite. Ask. This is the role of a securely attached woman. Massively. Okay. Great way how to get him to climb board. Go through that video course with him. Go through the marriage course with him. It is built, the language in it is built for men to really embrace and lock in quickly. It's great for women. Women love the course, but it is built to not be touchy-feely emotions, powder puffs, and butterflies. It is built to say, you want to have more sex, more love, more intimacy, and more peace. You want to have a great marriage, but don't know how to do it. You're missing skills. I'm going to show you every skill you need in the one and only model of marriage that works. You will be thriving. You will not be fighting anymore, and everything will finally work. Do you want that level of peace and joy and fulfillment? Then follow this program laid out right here. Just watch each video and do each exercise. And men lock in and they're like, yeah, and they go. Now that's what you need. So Jackie, make sure, you've been asked about the course, make sure you watch that with him. Watch that with him. Okay? All right. More vasopressin questions. I can probably take one more. Okay? One more vasopressin question. I am looking to see if there are anyone. Guys, frantically type. Frantically type your questions. I will take one more before we go. Boyfriend keeps going through the course, but keeps putting it off. That does happen a lot. Again, women are far too accommodating at the same time. You don't have to withhold love. That's not the point. And you don't have to get angry and mean. You say, hey, I need us to complete this and actually go through this. If we do, Here's the outcome I think that we'll get in the amazing life that I'm inviting you into. Can you do this for me and step up to the plate and be this person that I need? It would mean so much to me. Can we schedule it and arrange it and get it taken care of? That's the direct, honest, feminine, secure, loving way of calling him to account. That's it right there. Okay. That is the absolute crucial piece. That is what you got to do. There is hope. Avoidant woman didn't realize it was it for so long. Married 5 years ago after being together 20. Not in love. Don't want to be married. Not sure if vasopressin is an option. Not attracted to him. You've been together for 20 years and just got married 5 years ago. It will start to murder your desire for them as you get married, because now you feel like you're actually locked in. The cage door is closed, and now all you can do is stare at this person that you've locked in with. I highly recommend that you actually define what marriage should be, what you want it to be, what purpose it serves in your life. You don't get married just so everyone has happy, fluffy feelings. It doesn't work that way. Marriage should serve a larger purpose in your life. What, by being married, are you now both able to achieve better together that you couldn't before you were married? When you're fully 100% committed, what does that free you up to now do? How do you work together as co-executives? That's exactly why I had to build my How to Build a Secure Marriage video course, because most people today don't know what that even looks like. So most people think marriage is obsolete and worthless now. It's not. Marriage, I think, has never been more important. It is so crucial, but you have to actually follow what marriage is for. So I highly recommend that you check out that course. I greatly recommend it. It's still, for a little bit longer, is on sale. For the launch price, it's still on special launch price. AdamLaneSmith.com, courses tab, How to Build a Secure Marriage. Greatly recommend you go through it and then see if he is a man who can step up to that plate. What you're going to need as an avoidant woman is a man who can out-masculine you, who rises to the occasion. When you point at a dragon, he picks up his sword and charges at it. Like, that's the kind of man you need. Not one who hides behind your skirts while you're trying to take out the dragon from a distance with a crossbow, like patting him on the head and shooting. No, that's not going to work. Okay. You need a man who is more masculine than you. And that begins by building an actual proper marriage together, or it will not work. Sadly, it will not work. Some men are not men. Some men are just grown-up boys. That's the problem. All right, guys, this has been great. I loved this. I will be back tomorrow as well at 11 a.m. U.S. Central Time. You can see that on the channel. You can sign up for notifications. You can pop in. It is another Q&A tomorrow. Bring your relationship questions tagged in to that specific topic. Again, you can find that topic. It's waiting and upcoming. I will see you there tomorrow. For now, take care, be good, and build a marriage the way it's supposed to be built.